On the Oregon Trail, there were many horror stories, but the one that is constantly brought up is the Donner Party. They endured freezing weather to the point where their limbs were falling off and diseases that slowly killed them. Worst of it all, it came to the point where they ate each other's frozen bodies just to survive. They made many vital mistakes along their journey that cost most of them their lives, but without them, many others would have shared the same tragic fate. The tragedy of the Donner Party shocked the nation in 1847, but what if their story didn't end there? The lessons learned from their journey still influence how people prepare for dangerous travel today. To understand why their story became so important, we have to go back to the beginning. In 1841, the first emigrant group embarked westward with the promise of a better life and to seek refuge from religious persecution. 2 years passed and not much activity was on the trail until a man named John Gant was contracted to lead a group of 1,000 pioneers that was dubbed the Great Migration of 1843. This kickstarted the popularity of migrating westward. Most groups traveled by wagon train, led by oxen. They ate things like dried fruit, cornmeal, and rice to pack light. The most common death was disease. It was estimated that out of the 350,000 that migrated, 30,000 died of disease. This means that there was an average of 10 to 15 deaths per mile on the 2,000-mile trail. The Donner Party was an exception to this, though, as they faced much worse. The Donner Party included 87 people and was led by George and James Donner. They were told a new shortcut appeared called the Hastings Cutoff and took it. Lansford Hastings was supposed to lead the Donner Party through the path, but instead left them for another group. Since the Donners didn't have clear directions, they were very slow and got caught in the winter. They were covering about 1 to 2 miles per day and started resorting to eating their oxen. At this point, multiple wagons broke and all adults were forced to walk. Eventually, they made it to Truckee Lake. They were trapped there for the time being because of the snow and decided to set up camp there. The Donners had to resort to eating their own shoelaces and eventually each other. Multiple accounts recall family members crying while eating each other, but many refused and starved. Throughout the winter of 1846 through 47, 40 out of the 87 members of the Donner Party died before any help came. Eventually, the Donners got very desperate. They organized a party called the Forlorn Hope, which consisted of 17 members, 5 being children. They made makeshift snowshoes to be able to walk. They set out to Sutter's Fort to organize a rescue party. Only 7 of the members survived and made it, and the other 10 either turned back or died. The 7 that made it organized food and warm clothes and readied themselves to journey back to Truckee Lake. They successfully rescued 23 people and made it to Alder Creek Camp, located a few miles from Truckee Lake. The second and third relief rescued the remaining 21 survivors at Truckee Lake, although some refused to come. Afterwards, they returned to Sacramento safely with almost 50% of the original party dead. Before the Donner Party's story was revealed to the other immigrants on the Oregon Trail, most were unaware of the dangers of cutoffs and not packing enough food. Once the story went public, no one dared to take any untrusted shortcuts, predominantly the Hastings Cutoff. People also started packing smarter, like extra wagon supplies and food in case anything went wrong. Shortly after the first relief returned in March of 1847, the San Francisco, Sacramento, the California Star, and more newspapers published their own version of the Donner's story. Mainly, the California Star published their own version with heavily exaggerated remarks such as, "The bones of those who had died and been devoured by the miserable ones that still survived were lying around their tents and cabins. A woman sat by the body of her husband, who had just died, eating out his tongue, the heart she had already taken out, broiled, and eat. Bodies of men, women, and children with half the flesh torn from them lay on every side." Before the Donner Party story spread, it was estimated that 60 to 75 wagons took the Hastings cutoff in just the first year after it was created. However, after news of the tragedy became public, immigrants quickly lost trust in the route. Only a few attempted to take it again, and most turned back before finishing it. No one used it afterwards. Their story also raised immigrants' awareness about the dangers of winter travel and the importance of bringing enough food and supplies for the journey. The Donner Party story revealed the dangers of the untested routes like the Hastings Cutoff, timing their journey incorrectly, and not packing enough food for their group. Their story spread across the nation and warned immigrants about the importance of planning and preparation. Travelers then knew to leave earlier in the season, follow established routes, and properly pack supplies. The Donner's experience made migration along the California and Oregon Trail much safer for the thousands that followed. The Donner Party story didn't just help future immigrants on the Oregon Trail, it also still helps implement core traveling etiquette to this day. We know how to time our travel so as to not interfere with bad weather, also to pack extra food and warm clothes when traveling in the winter, and to never take untrusted shortcuts. The Oregon and California trail system revolutionized large-scale migration, but the Donner Party story revealed its many dangers. This led to safer travel practices and continues to influence modern preparedness, reminding us that careful planning, adequate supplies, and awareness of nature can mean the difference between survival and disaster.